We do not have anything like pyramids built anymore for billionaires' graves. But we do have memorials for former leaders. In the US there is the Washington Monument and memorials for Lincoln and Jefferson. Let's not give them any ideas. Nick Cage has a pyramid in New Orleans for his interment. They sure have a lot of survival bunkers. We just need to turn them into mausoleums when they die. You seem to have never heard of Bass Pro Shop. That's a good thing, surely? Wait until Bezos or Musk are reminded of their mortality. Bezos will probably be interred in a massive Amazon box and entry-level warehouse workers will have to carry his corpse from warehouse to warehouse, where they'll have to change people each time to go to the next one. Most recent would be Taj Mahal. It's also worth pointing out engineering is about using the minimum of effort to do the most. Two of the pyramids of Giza are just a pile of stones in the desert with the burial chamber underneath. The Great Pyramid actually has the internal chambers and massive granite blocks to hold up the roof on the inside. The funny thing is we could absolutely build the pyramids today for a fraction of the labor and time scale, but we literally have no need to do so. There's less religion, generally speaking. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Elon would ship his body to Mars or something in the name of science. Nah, they're taking in the blood of their young and living forever. In modern society, we do not have people with status as significant as the rulers of Egypt had. Pharaohs were absolute monarchs with literal status of a demigod. They were not another rich guy despised by the masses. They were considered divine entities. Pyramids aren't graves. Maybe it's not on the same scale as the pyramids, but Lenin and Mao both have their own fairly impressive mausoleums. Bezos made that clock which is supposed to outlive humanity. Don't you get it? The whole thing is a pyramid. Every company is a pyramid, every country is a pyramid, every workplace is a pyramid. It's all a pyramid made of our flesh and pain, and it's rotting from the core, and we need to destroy it. When was the last time a billionaire died? They've begun to build their pyramids earlier, and live in them. May not be pyramid-shaped, but that's what each of these mansion compounds is, an attempt to show that yours is the biggest. They rather donate money so some building puts their name on it. It's because they're spending all their money on trying to live forever. Why build a garage when you don't plan on driving? So people still thinking pyramids are graves. Can't be too on the nose about it, or we would finally start connecting some dots. Sure, we do libraries, museums, and universities with their names on them. Unmarked shallow graves will have to do. Yeah, see, that's so disappointing to me. Those guys have so much money, but no creativity. You can't take it with you, so maybe use it to build a monument to yourself so big that it can be seen from space. And that will probably last for millennia because very few people would have the time or resources to demolish something of that size. Given the number of people who can barely wait to piss on Trump's grave, a pyramid would really help the line move faster. The pyramids never had any bodies in them. Exactly 0 tombs or mummies have been discovered in the pyramids of Giza. Nicolas Cage tried, didn't work out too well for him. Maybe not as big, but you can easily spend over $100K on a mausoleum. Their massive underground bunker survives. They have their 100 million apocalypse shelters underground all ready for them. We ought to build meaningful legacies, not empty symbols of power. It's easier just to destroy the planet and leave it as their grave. Can get any bigger than that. Here in modern times, the slavery has to be a little more subtle. Don't put this out there. There's very little to prevent it. The new wave is cryogenically freezing their bodies in the hopes that they could be resurrected one day. The Tesla Gigafactory is already roughly twice as big as the Great Pyramid of Giza in terms of volume. Elon doesn't need a giant building for when he's dead, he already has some. Our intestines are phenomenal graves, eat them all. Why is that random comma in the address to the venue? If I had a shit ton of money, I would get a giant monument built on the moon or Mars where it would stay undisturbed a bit longer. Why didn't anyone think of this? Oh, wait. Why do you think they're trying to get to Mars? They can afford to keep that stuff hidden away from you. Twitter is sort of a pyramid, 'cause it relies on mass people to construct and a billionaire is getting buried in it. Remember me, remember me. Some mausoleums are, obviously not as big, but they're stupidly lavish. Now today's pharaohs build pyramids of money. Sure we do, they're just called endowments. Or are buildings sponsored on college campuses, or sports arenas. They aren't literally buried in the monuments anymore, but they're absolutely still made. Not on the jaw-dropping scale of pyramids, but you should check out some of the absolute mansions that cartel leaders are entombed in. The only pyramids built these days are pyramid schemes. That's because pharaohs were often seen as literal gods. The movie Under the Silver Lake is ultimately about this. In the movie, billionaires are secretly building massive underground tombs in Southern California to the scale of the ancient Egyptians, and being interred with concubines while still alive. It's fiction, of course, but it wouldn't surprise me if this actually happened to a greater or lesser extent at some point. Remember me, Bender the Great. Because they don't die now. LOL. I mean, it's not as big as the pyramids, but there was that submarine. Because we don't really have that religion anymore, and also billionaires aren't kings. Nicolas Cage has a pyramid tomb for when he dies in a New Orleans cemetery. Quite a few private universities have all used to have the grave sites of their very rich founders. A university you found for your grave site isn't that far off a pyramid. Just let me up some cheese, I'm buying one of those backward southern towns and building myself a mausoleum the size of an ancient city. To a complete different scale, but some cartel leaders in Sinaloa, Mexico are known for having huge tombs built for them. Some bigger than the median Mexican house. Just search for narcotumbas and you'll see some examples. Not that you know of, peasant. Most only deserve a ditch on the side of the road. Pharaohs paid their workers a better wage and had beer rations. Look into the real estate holdings of MSD Capital and their client King Michael Dell. Lots of businesses, hospitals, ball fields named after him. Kind of the same thing. I'm sure there's several billionaire multi-acre properties with ostentatiously large tombs and gardens. Probably more expensive too. They're just not open to the public. Gotta have legions of slaves. Are they building bunkers these days? Maybe the pyramids were the bunkers of ancient times? Their personal space programs are pretty close. There's some contention as to whether they were really for tombs, I believe. Also, it wasn't that pharaohs were rich celebs. They were seen as divine. I dare say we've gotten past that. For now, LOL. Maybe it's about time we build some and put the billionaires inside. For science. And honor. The pyramids were not graves, no mummies were ever found there. Look up Luxor and Valley of the Kings, my friend. Stupid rocket guy will see this post in 2 years as a Twitter repost and I will blame op for whatever happens afterwards. Oh. The billionaires are definitely leaving behind monumental legacies that will dominate the landscape of our collective futures. You do know Nicolas Cage has a small pyramid already made for his tomb. King Mausolus was a very minor ruler, but by building his edifice, which was a wonder but is now destroyed by time, he lives on as the origin of the word mausoleum. I'm sure he never thought that big when he was building his crypt.